The emergency klaxons echoed through the corridors of the Zeltari research station, their piercing wail announcing a crisis that made Commander Zelther's scales turn pale gray. He burst into the specimen containment bay, his four eyes wide with a mixture of rage and primal fear. "What have you done, Crix?" he roared at his subordinate, who stood trembling before a reinforced holding cell. Inside the cell, sitting cross-legged on the floor with an expression of curious amusement, was a human child. A girl, no more than 8 standard years old, with dark curly hair and bright brown eyes. She wore simple clothing and was currently examining the energy barrier with the clinical interest of a scientist studying an insect. "Commander, I can explain," Crix began, his antenna drooping with shame. "Explain, explain." Zelther's voice rose to a pitch that made nearby equipment rattle. "Do you have any idea what you've done? That's not just any species, you incompetent fool. That's a human child." The other researchers in the bay had stopped their work, their attention now fixed on the unfolding catastrophe. Whispers of dread rippled through the room. Even the automated system seemed to hum with increased anxiety. "But sir, my readings indicated she was alone on that colony moon. I thought she would make an excellent research subject for our cognitive development studies." "Cognitive development?" Zelther cut him off, moving close enough that Crix could smell the fear pheromones radiating from his commander. "Let me educate you on human cognitive development, since you clearly failed that module at the academy." Zelther pulled up a holographic display, his claws trembling as he navigated through files marked with the highest threat classifications. "Humans," he began, his voice dropping to a horrified whisper, "are Category 12 Deathworlders. Do you understand what that means? Their planet has a gravity 1.3 times standard. Their atmosphere is 21% oxidizer. Their star bombards them with enough radiation to mutate most species into oblivion, and they thrive there." The girl in the cell had now stood up and was waving at them through the barrier. She smiled. Several researchers instinctively took a step back. "But she's just a juvenile," Crix protested weakly. "Just a juvenile," Zelther pulled up another file. 3 cycles ago, the Dravathi Empire made that same mistake. They abducted 2 human children for their genetic programs. Within 1 planetary rotation, an entire human fleet appeared in their space. Not to negotiate, not to discuss terms. They came with weapons that could crack planets. He zoomed in on the battle reports. The Dravathi had the finest military in this sector. Had, past tense. The humans dismantled 73 warships, destroyed 4 orbital stations, and glassed 12 military installations before the Dravathi could even respond to their initial hail. And do you know what the humans' message was? Crix shook his head, his skin now completely pale. "Return our children." That's all they said, 4 words, and they meant them with every weapon they possessed. The girl had now discovered she could make handprints on the condensation of the energy barrier. She was drawing a smiley face. But surely their military could be reasoned with. "Military?" Zelther let out a sound that was almost a laugh but edged with hysteria. "That's what makes humans truly terrifying, Crix. You haven't just invoked the wrath of their military. You've invoked something far worse, human parents." He pulled up anthropological studies, his hands shaking. "Humans bond with their offspring in ways we can barely comprehend. They will burn entire star systems. They will bankrupt their worlds. They will violate every treaty, every law, every moral principle they hold dear for their children. And they won't just come themselves." "What do you mean?" "Human social structures are insane. Family, friends, communities, nations. When you take a human child, you don't just anger 2 parents. You anger hundreds, thousands, sometimes millions of humans who feel personally responsible for that child's welfare. They call it pack bonding, and they extend it beyond any logical parameter. I once read a report of humans who went to war for a stolen child who wasn't even their species. In the cell, the girl had finished her drawing and was now humming a tune. It was cheerful and innocent. It made Zelther want to evacuate the station immediately. "Sir, perhaps we could return her before." "Before what? Before they notice." Zelther pulled up the tracking data. "You took her from the Bella colony on Kepler 442b. That's a human military research station, you absolute fool. They probably noticed within milliseconds of her disappearance. Do you know what they research there?" "And no, sir." "Weapons. Experimental weapons designed to operate in non-standard physics environments. And you just gave them a reason to test every single prototype they've developed in the last decade." The color drained from Crix's face completely. "What do we do?" Zelther was silent for a moment, his mind racing through scenarios, each more catastrophic than the last. Finally, he straightened his uniform with shaking hands. "First, we verify her identity. What's her name?" Crix pulled up the data they'd managed to collect. The translator indicates her designation is Bella. "Bella," Zelther repeated, feeling the weight of doom in the syllables. "The colony is named after her. That's either coincidence or she's important enough to name an entire colony after," another researcher finished, her voice hollow with dread. Zelther approached the cell slowly. The girl Bella looked up at him with those unsettlingly intelligent eyes. Humans had forward-facing predator eyes, he remembered, binocular vision for tracking prey. Even their children had the gaze of hunters. "Hello, Bella," he said through the translator, trying to keep his voice calm. "My name is Commander Zelther. There's been a terrible mistake." "Hi," Bella said brightly. "Are you aliens? This is so cool. Wait until I tell Leo about this." "Leo?" Zelther felt a new wave of dread. "Who is Leo?" "My big brother. He's a Marine." Bella beamed with pride. "He's stationed at Bella Station. That's named after me because I was the first baby born there. Leo says I'm the colony's good luck charm." The room went silent. Even the humming of machinery seemed to stop. "Her brother," Zelther said slowly, "is a human Marine, stationed at a military research facility, and she's the colony's good luck charm." He pulled up the military database with trembling claws and searched for personnel records from Bella Station. His worst fears were confirmed within seconds. "Lance Corporal Leo Martinez," he read aloud. "Distinguished service in the Rigel campaign, expert marksman, hand-to-hand combat instructor, decorated for valor after retrieving wounded civilians from a hostile zone under enemy fire." He paused. "Currently assigned to the Experimental Weapons Division as a field tester." "What does that mean?" Crix asked. "It means," Zelther said, his voice barely above a whisper, "that Bella's brother is one of the humans they give experimental weapons to see how much destruction one person can cause. And we've given him a reason to field test everything he can carry." As if summoned by the mere mention of his name, the station's long-range sensors began screaming alerts. 3 ships had just dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the system's edge. The sensor analysis made Zelther's blood run cold. "1 human military frigate," the sensor officer reported, her voice shaking. "1 civilian transport that's been heavily modified with. Those are illegal weapons configurations. And 1 ship I can't identify, but its energy signature is off the scales." "Hail them," Zelther ordered, "immediately." The communication channel opened, and a young human male appeared on the screen. He was in military uniform, but his expression was beyond anger, beyond rage. It was the focused, cold intensity of a predator who had found its prey. "This is Lance Corporal Leo Martinez of the Human Colonial Marines," he said, his voice terrifyingly calm. "You have 30 seconds to return my baby sister unharmed, or I demonstrate why humans are classified as Category 12 Deathworlders. 29, 28. "Wait," Zelther shouted. "She's unharmed. This was a misunderstanding. We're returning her immediately." 20, 19. Crix, disable the containment field now. Crix's hands fumbled over the controls. The energy barrier flickered and died. Bella stood up, still smiling. Prepare for transport, Zelther said. Bella, you're going home. Okay, Bella said cheerfully. This was fun. You seem really nice even though you're scared. Leo gets scared too, but he says being brave means being scared and doing things anyway. 12:11. The transport is initialized, Crix shouted. Bella, Zelther said quickly, kneeling down to her level, when you see your brother, please tell him that this was an accident, that we treated you well, that we meant you no harm. Bella tilted her head, studying him with those predator eyes. Then she smiled, and for a moment, Zelther saw something in that smile that reminded him why humans were feared across the galaxy. It wasn't cruelty or malice. It was the absolute certainty that she had never, for 1 second, been in any real danger. I'll tell him, she said, but you should probably apologize yourself. Leo says it's important to say sorry when you make mistakes. 6:5. The transport beam engaged, and Bella dissolved into particles of light. The moment she was gone, Zelther collapsed into a chair, his legs no longer able to support him. Status, he croaked. The human ships are holding position, the sensor officer reported. They're scanning us, every system, every database, every researcher's personal files. Let them, Zelther said. Full cooperation. Give them everything they ask for. Sir, Crix ventured, what will happen to me? Zelther looked at him with all 4 eyes. If the humans decide to pursue charges, you'll be tried under their legal system for child abduction. If they don't, you'll be tried under our legal system for nearly starting an interstellar war. Either way, your career is over. He stood up, straightening his uniform. And Crix, you should count yourself lucky. If we hadn't returned Bella in time, career over would have been the least of your problems. The communication channel opened again. Leo appeared on screen, but this time he was holding Bella, who was hugging him tightly. The cold predator intensity had been replaced with relief and love, but the warning in his eyes remained. Commander Zelther, Leo said, my sister says you were kind to her, that you seemed scared but tried to make things right. For her sake, and because she believes you're a good person who made a mistake, I'm not going to reduce your station to its component atoms. Thank you, Zelther breathed. But Leo continued, his voice hardening, update your databases. Add this to every file about humans you have. We protect our own, all of them, always, no exceptions. No mercy for those who threaten our children. It will be done, Zelther promised. Good, Leo's expression softened slightly as Bella waved at the screen. She wants to say goodbye. Bye, Commander Zelther, Bella called out. Maybe when I'm grown up, I can visit your station properly and we can be friends. Zelther managed a weak smile. I would like that, Bella. The communication ended. The human ships powered up their drives and, within minutes, had vanished back into faster-than-light travel, taking Bella home. Zelther turned to face his crew. New protocols, effective immediately. Human children are never, under any circumstances, to be approached, studied, or contacted without explicit permission from human authorities and multiple layers of oversight. Is that clear? A chorus of affirmatives echoed through the bay. Crix stood alone, comprehending the magnitude of his mistake. Sir, I almost. Yes, Zelther interrupted. You almost killed us all. Remember that the next time you think about taking shortcuts in your research. As the station slowly returned to normal operations, Zelther retreated to his office and updated the Zeltari xenological databases. In the section on humans, under Threat Assessment, he added a new note. Humans are most dangerous not when threatened themselves, but when their young are threatened. They possess technological capabilities centuries beyond their apparent development level, which they will deploy without hesitation if their children are in danger. They form irrational emotional bonds that supersede logic and self-preservation. They will sacrifice everything for these bonds. Classification: Category 12 Death Worlder. Subclassification: Never threaten their children. He paused, then added one final line. They call it love, we call it terrifying. In the distance, through the viewport, he could still see the fatting energy signatures of the human ships. And he knew with absolute certainty that the galaxy was safer because those ships were leaving, not arriving. Bella was home, and the universe breathed a collective sigh of relief.